What's cracking, folks? It is a Monday at 3 o'clock. Well, 3:20. I had to back it up. I got Mike finishing up some. What the hell are you eating?
Carrot cake, buddy.
Carrot cake. Hey, you love you some carrot cake.
I love it, man.
That's crazy. Well, hey, man, we got a special guest on the show today. We're going to talk some defensive prospects. There's some news that broke on the NFL today about one of our rivals signing a quarterback. I'm sure y'all have heard by now, but we're going to get into it. Have a great show. Let's go. And welcome in to episode 92 of Out of Your Falcon Mind, Atlanta Falcons Fan Cast. My name is John, your host, joined by my co-host, Mike. How you doing, buddy?
I'm happy to be here, man. Really excited today. So this dude has been on our podcast twice before. And bullshit happens to me like out of the woodwork sometimes. Like this right here. I don't know where that just came from. You see what I'm just a good example. It's a white sticker on my hand. I have no idea what it is. So I've missed them twice. Happy to actually catch them the third time. I'm excited today, buddy. Good weather outside. I feel like it's springtime. I'm loving it. But the allergies, I think I'm on the come up from the allergies, but the allergies hit me hard for this week, man.
So is Zyrtec working out for you? Or
yes, it actually is the greatest because it doesn't make me drowsy. The other things take me out because I don't even take no medicine. So one of those or two of those, I'm done for the day.
Yep, I'm with you, man. I pretty much have to take Zyrtec about literally every day for most of the year. Yeah. To keep that shit from bothering me. But I feel you, man. We were at the ballpark for like 15 hours yesterday. So that was fun. So my eyes are burning, all that good stuff, man. Everything is blooming. So it's
you have to. I didn't even think about that. You have to sit out there in it. Damn.
Yeah, and it was yesterday morning. His first game was at 8:30. It was 40 degrees. All right. By the second game, it was like 75. And then we finished last night. They won the championship, which was great.
There you go, Liam, buddy.
But they finished last night at 10 o'clock. It was back down to 50 again. So it's amazing. We don't have all kinds of crap going on. It's just you got 4 seasons in one day, man. But man. So here we are. Like I said, on a Monday special show coming to you guys from the Variety Sports Network. As always, check out Variety Sports. Go sub to the channel, see all the great shows they got on there. They have specific channels like VSN Football, VSN Baseball. you can get specific sports, stuff like that. Great content on the channel. A lot of new shows signing. So good stuff there, man. And always, if you're watching the show live or if you're watching it on replay, just hit the like button for us so we can get out there to more Falcons fans and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We think we keep growing. We're up to like 308, 309 as you eat some more carrot cake. If you're on iTunes, Spotify, drop us with the 5-star review. We appreciate that as well, man. That always keeps us growing on those platforms as well, man. So yeah, let's actually, you know what? Let's see. I think our boy just got here, so let's go ahead and what the hell's going on, buddy?
What's going on?
What's going on, buddy?
What's up, Mike?
Fresh in from getting the kids. I love it.
You gotta be a dad first, you know how it is.
Man, I finally caught you, buddy. Through hella high water, I was coming today, buddy. I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he was just saying these both times you've been on, he's just some shit's happened and he's had to miss you both times.
I missed you.
We're just setting it up for the big shebang, you know.
That's all it is, man. I'm good. It's great to have you today, buddy. Seriously.
Yeah, no, for real, man. I've been telling John from time, like we gotta figure it out. But between his kid, my kid, and kids, because I coach a lot of football, you know, so it's a lot. It's a lot being a dad, being a coach, you know.
100%, man. Yeah, man. So, and like, you guys have been watching us for a while, or listening to us for a while. Y'all know Adam's been on the show last year. He joined me. We went through some quarterbacks, and he joined earlier, I think, last season for a little bit. Was able to come in. But for those new that don't know you, man, just tell everybody who you are and what you do and all that good stuff.
So, yeah, my name's Adam Holloway, but I go by Damski on Twitter. A lot of people know me on there just from like film breakdowns and whatnot. I live in Canada, so that kind of throws people. Somebody learned today that I lived in Canada. I threw them off for a loop, and it's always so funny. But I coach travel football down here, and we're going to the States this weekend to West Virginia for a little tournament. I'm a defensive coordinator at a high school here as well. Just lots of football, lots and lots of football. I wouldn't want it any other way though. So
yeah, man. Yeah, it's fun, man, watching getting to see some of your posts with your son, man. Like he looks like a stud, buddy. Looks like you got a little athlete on your hands there.
Yeah, he's funny, man. He trains, so I'm a firm believer kids should be trained at every position. And the one position I don't train them at is quarterback because I don't really know like mechanics that well. And so the travel coach now says, he's like, oh, he could be a great quarterback. I'm like, all right. And he's just been slinging it for the last couple of weeks, and he's gonna quarterback his first sevens tournament this weekend. So he's excited. He's amped. I'm amped. It's like as a dad, I gotta kind of try to take my emotions out of it, but because I'm his coach too. So
that's probably like another level. Like it's probably similar to me, like watching my kid pitch, you know, because that's this, you know, like it's you know, he pitched.
All eyes on you, right?
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, he's and you know, since he started pitching, you know, when they went to kid pitch, you know, he's just gravitated to it. He's been really good since he started, and it's just been something he's really enjoyed. Doesn't make it any different or any less stressful. I 100% guarantee you that his mom and I far more stressed out and nervous than he ever is on the mound. Like it's not even close. Like I mean, yesterday, like shout out to our boy Steven. He was in town. He came down and got to see him play. And you know, we sat in the bleachers. Most of the time, man, I'm just patrolling the outfield. I'm walking around. Like I can't sit still while he's pitching, man. So it's gonna be you're gonna be similar to boat, man. If you're playing quarterback, all eyes on him, and you know, a little different.
Yeah, I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm just like, I said, hey, man, because it's his first time playing in the U.S. He's been a dominant player here. And I said to him, I said, man, this first one, don't care. Just have fun. Like this is like this age group's first time in the U.S. Competing. I said, man, you're going to see some things. They're going to talk a lot of smack. Just enjoy the process and learn from it, right? I said, hey, if we go 0-4, but you have fun and you're learning something, that's the biggest point to it, because the player you are now isn't going to be the player you are in 5 years, right?
No,
so
100%, man.
Now, Adam, 100%. I got a question for you. Now, be honest, are you more?
Yo, listen, hold on a second. Mike, I got to say, this is my favorite thing about this podcast. It's just your random questions.
Oh man, I just come
up because I'm like, should I be preparing for my favorite pizza toppings, my favorite lasagna? What should I be doing there? You know,
because I just think of it as I go, buddy. So here's the question I got for you. Now, be honest, Are you more of a dad or more of a coach from the sideline? When you're on the coach, like when you're on the sideline, is it more dad, I'm being a father, or is it more I'm being a coach? Honestly.
So very few times am I not coaching Croy. My Croy's my son, by the way, and
Okay.
yes, he's named after Croy Bierman of the former Falcons.
Okay.
Uh,
Yay!
so I'm very rarely am I not coaching him because um, good football coaches here are hard to find. So I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty good at what I do, and
Mhm,
proof is in the pudding all across of Ontario and what I do here.
mhm,
Um, so very seldom am I coaching him, but like for example, he played for a school. So Montreal is about 7 hours away from me,
mhm.
and they have an academy there that he played for on what's called Boxing Day here. You guys don't have Boxing Day, but it's like
Do you
it's
know what
basically
it is
Black
though?
Friday.
Okay.
It's like Black Friday here. So he played in a big tournament there, and he was being coached by my boy Jamil, and it's hard. It's hard because I can see he's a good player, but I can see I'm like, man, they're not on him enough for what that is. But I guess that's being a dad, right? You're
Yeah,
watching
that's it.
just your
Right.
kid, right? So yeah, like I'll say this: I can never go to a game in which he's playing in and not say anything.
I got I love it, buddy. I love the honesty, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough, right? Because yeah, it's just tough.
Well,
I love
There's
it.
good coaches. I'll say there's good coaches.
Yeah.
I don't mean that, but it's you just I just know my son.
Okay. I
yeah,
got
yeah,
you. I love it.
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that, man. It's different, man. Because I coached Liam. I was like assistant coach for a little while,
Mhm.
playing baseball up until like 9. Well, like just after 9. So like, and that's when they really started pitching, and really started.
John, you muted yourself, big dog.
Yeah, you mute yourself.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it got to be above my head as far as pitching
Mhm.
wise, I didn't want to hold him back. So I'm like,
Yeah, I
I
got it.
got you.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to mess you up. And we need to get you with somebody that's, knows exactly what they're doing, been there, done that, type of thing. So, and I mean, their coaches, man, it's different because I'm not his coach or whatever. But I mean, like
Mhm.
if the parents say anything, yeah, your ass is out. Then you can go ahead.
Yeah,
They don't allow
I
that.
Yeah.
I definitely could see that.
Yeah.
Like Canada is very different. Like hockey and stuff's crazy, like
Oh, I can
super
imagine.
crazy. But here, other sports is just not. There's just not. It's not. There's no like aggressiveness towards it, I guess,
Mhm,
from parents
Hmm.
because they see it more as fun rather than like hockey serious.
mhm.
I don't know. But that's where we like the academy I coach for. That's where we kind of bridge the gap to Canadians that want to play in the US as well.
Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, and that's how kind of we connected initially because I mean, when we first started the show, obviously we're getting on Falcons Twitter for the first time, trying to find people that know what they're talking about and that are not, crazy and off the rails when it comes to
Mhm.
Falcons. And obviously, we came across you. That's how we connected.
Yeah,
Um, you
yeah.
know, and,
Adam is the Bill Belichick. Like he don't talk about nothing else. It could be aliens could land on Earth, and he would tweet about football. Like it could be an alien takeover. He live it. He breathe it. That's all his content. That's his is football. That's it. He live
It's
it. He live it.
it's a unhealthy obsession.
Bill
Yeah.
Belichick, the Bill Belichick of Twitter, man. That's him.
everybody's got to
It's
have their thing, man. So
Yeah.
it's all
yeah,
good.
like I used to like hockey a lot, obviously being Canadian, but like this past 2 years, I've just gone. Like I really feel like obviously it's where I am at my coaching like
Mhm.
spot too. Like I'm doing a lot of good coaching, and just stuff I enjoy, and it's hard to not want to do it, right? I'm
Of
almost at the
course.
break where I'm getting paid for it too, so it's like I kind of want to be more in tune
Oh
with it.
yeah.
I
So
got yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's what this. I mean, totally different aspect, but like what this show, like I know Mike and I, we talked about it before. Like, it's probably made us bigger fans and like
Oh yeah.
Oh, for
way
sure.
more attentive than we were
Mhm,
before. I mean, like we're paying attention now to more stuff than we ever have.
mhm.
Whether it's combine workouts, whatever you name it. I mean, like watching every minute of every game, doing everything we can to try to make the show better. It's been nuts.
And I didn't think I
Yeah.
could be a bigger fan, buddy. I thought I was out of my mind already. I thought I was at the ceiling already.
Yeah,
Who
I've
knew,
seen your
man?
guys stuff. Your guys stuff in season when you guys went to the game. Your guys, it was awesome, man. I I miss a lot of people's stuff, but I try to retweet and quote tweet all that stuff all the time because honestly, like one thing I preach is like actually watching and learning about the game, not just kind of being bullish on your guys, but you guys do the work, and I absolutely love podcasts that do that, and I try to share out the good ones all the time because we just need good vibes in the air, you know what I mean? Like in regards to football and the Falcons as well. So I mean, you guys are great. I love it. I've been telling me and John been talking all year about me getting on. It's just a matter of trying to do it, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. Between, like I said, between work and my sons and your, like you said, your sons and ours, it's insane. So we just happened to text them the other night, and we're like, shit, when this has just happened to work out for everybody. So we're like, well,
let's just jump on it. First time it worked out for everybody. Like, that's crazy. Yeah,
we'll just jump on it while we can. So before we get going, man, let's jump in the chat real quick. That is Liam.
Liam, buddy, congratulations, Liam. I knew you would do it, buddy.
What's going on, man?
What's going on, Ski? He said, hey guys, have a nice show and greetings.
Love having
the chat. Going to listen the whole thing tomorrow. Sounds good, buddy. You're probably hitting the bed. So he's in Germany, people. So we got to get him a shout there. Yeah, man. Miss Pam, what's going on? Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Miss Pam.
Happy birthday.
Scottish Falcon, what's going on, brother? He said, what's happening, guys?
Hey, Scottish Falcon, what's happening, guys?
Car to the Aints. Another year, another 10 years of Capel for them. Yeah, we're going to get into it in a second. Kendra Edom, first time tuning in from Ohio. Excited for the show. Hey, appreciate you tuning in.
I got you. Look
at that. Hopefully you're an Ohio State fan. Hopefully. Carrie, what's happening?
Carrie,
what
up?
You back.
What's up, John? Hey, we good to have you back, man. We always in your corner.
Oh, shoot, Carrie.
Praying for you, rooting for you, Carrie. Let's go. Awesome. Glad to have you today.
Carrie's always here, man. She's always supporting. Liam said it was worth the 15 hours. There you go. He passed out last night after some food, but hey, it's all good. What up, fellas?
Travis, what up?
Hello to any Desbians watching. Man, have you heard the Desbians? Have you heard this, Adam?
I only heard it from when I was listening to your other show the other night. And I was like,
I heard it.
Desbians, what? And you explained it. I was like, oh, that makes sense. But I guess, I mean, I don't know. It goes with it, right? I mean, you got to have a little catchphrase with it. So that's funny, man. That's you know what I mean. I love seeing what fans come up with, man. It's real funny. They're so passionate, right? So
yeah,
man. 100%. Yeah. Jordan, what's up, buddy? He said, what up, guys? Damski in here too. Going to be a great show. Yes, sir. Sure is. And Liam said, I'm barely stressed out when I pitch. Yeah, I know.
There you go.
Look at him.
Liam, talk your talk.
Liam, talk so he's like Matty Ice then. Eh? He's like Matty Ice.
Yeah, Matty Ice. Yeah, Liam Ice. That's the new one. Liam Ice.
What's going on, False Start? Good to see you,
Falcon. What up, guys?
Facebook says, I'm always harder on my son than other kids. Well, that's pretty typical, man. That's pretty typical.
You have to be. You have to be.
D, what's up, buddy?
What's going on?
He said,
what's up, D?
The three of y'all are awesome, and can't we please get a defensive impact player at 8? Okay. Appreciate you, buddy, and hopefully we will. Thank man, you. I think the three of us want a defensive player at 8. And Liam said that we won't. Ghost Peppers, what's going on, brother?
Ghost Peppers.
Oh, Bulldogs. Oh man, it was a good game, man. I'll give you that. I appreciate Bulldogs. It's hard because being a Falcons fan, I got to see all the crap talking that Georgia fans were saying about Ohio State. And I had to really bite my lip for a couple days, so I just chilled. But I let them have it. They won it. They earned it.
Yeah, you're right. And you can say whatever you want, buddy. Out of your Falcon mind, man.
Out of your Falcon
mind. Perfect.
Yeah. Derek, what's up, man? First time tuning on everyone. What's going on, brother? What are we talking about as far as Falcon? Man, we're going to get into some of the news today. We're going to talk about. Yeah, man, we have some defensive prospects that we're looking at. Since that's kind of Adam's specialty, that's what we want to talk to him about. False Park said he's a Desbian, and he's probably proud of it.
That's a proud Desbian. He came out. I love it.
Oh, man. Oh, what's going on, Tommy? This is my buddy Tommy, man. We actually, his son played with Liam for a bit.
Tommy Shelby, what up, buddy?
And Foster said when he put on that 9 this year's watch, I think he is going to go back to 9 this year from what we're hearing. So anyway, what do you think about the car news, buddy? I think I saw it was 150 million. Was that right? 4 years, 100 guaranteed. Has that been verified yet?
Yeah, he basically got the exact same contract that he got with the Raiders. So one thing I always get into this with the Lamar stuff with us is that the structure of the contract is only $12 million over the course of the next 2 years. So it's actually a really affordable deal.
Yeah.
And New Orleans can get out of it in 2 years if they want to, and he's got a no trade clause. So I'm not a big Derek Carr fan, so I don't really see this as a needle
Nobody is.
mover for them. Um, they're trying to. I love it as a Falcons fan because they're trying to cling on to what they had.
Same
They
here.
did have a great defense, great team, but reality is they're gonna have to cut some players. They're gonna have to like players are getting older. Cam Jordan looked like a shell of himself last year through as a passer. So I mean, it's just you know what I mean. Like running back by any means necessary as a Falcons fan, keep doing it because I know they beat us twice, but one Mariota fumbled the game, and then the second was like Desmond Ritter's second game. So I mean you just look at the trajectory and they're kind of like here just like plateauing. We're kind of like slowly itching up to that high point. So I mean if you look at it, I'm all for what they're doing because I just think it at the end of the day it's going to be really good for Atlanta because like I said, Derek Carr's a good quarterback. He's not a great one, and so he doesn't really move the needle for me.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Mike, our buddy Chris, texted me this morning when they signed him, and asked him, I was like, "How do you feel about it?" And he was like, "I'm okay with it." And he was kind of the same reasons for you as far as the money. You know, it wasn't going to hamstring him that much because they're already. I mean, you know, they're already.
They got to make moves right now.
They have to, yeah. I mean, like, and so it looks like Jameis is going to be probably a cap casualty at this point. So, and I've seen some folks that said they'd like to take Jameis as a backup for Dez. So, yeah, I kind of like scratch my head on that one too. But you know, I can't,
buddy.
Yeah, exactly. So, Titans possibly moving on from Derrick Henry. Any interest there?
I love the player, like absolutely love Derrick Henry, and I'm sure Arthur does too. But
Yeah, sure he does.
he always like that was. I remember the first full year was him basically talking about how great his old Titans team was, like when he was in Atlanta, and it's true. Like they had some really good pieces in AJ and Derek and Corey Davis and stuff. But no, I like. Every ship has to come to dock, right? I guess you could say. And Derek was a great player, and I'm sure he'll probably get one or two more good years. But I would rather just draft a guy that can kind of be a counterpunch to Tyler's power. And Tyler's really good, and I'd rather just get a guy that can not take carries away from him, but like
just compliment him.
Compliment him. That's
because I mean, we've talked about it before. It's like you don't necessarily in this offense need a bell cow type of guy. I mean, it's if you got him, great. But I mean, you know, we saw last year, you know, you can split the carries pretty easily and be really, really effective, especially if you got similar guys like, you know, Caleb and until he got hurt, you know, Tyler was pretty similar. Of course, CP until he started kind of wearing down throughout the year. So yeah, I mean, they're probably definitely going to add, I would think, in the draft. There's a lot of good guys, a lot of good running backs they can add later on if they want to jump up there and maybe get somebody like Jameer earlier in the. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Gibbs, I love. I mean, obviously, I do.
Did you see his verified 40 after today?
No, dude. You gotta, because I was at the freaking ballpark all day. I didn't see any running backs. I didn't see any offensive linemen. So, how did he do?
I think he ended up running like a 4.37 or something like that, right? But this morning when it came through, he said, and he showed a picture of him stop past the 40-yard mark, and it said 4.23.
Oh shit!
So he's fighting with the NFL over his 40 time being 4.23. I liked him before that, but if he's got 4.23 speed, sign me up like right away.
Well, I mean, if you watch him on film, you can see it. I mean, when he gets in the open field, he just pulls away, dude. I mean, it's like his speed is like just stupid.
Man,
I like
so quick in the cuts,
Adam, do you think that Arthur Smith is gonna get a person just like Tyler that can compliment him when he's tired? We bring him in, he do kind of the same thing, or you think he gonna go in a different, like somebody that's quick, fast, can catch out the backfield, a speedy type guy? Like, what do you think he's going after?
So, do you think what I think he should do, or what Arthur's going to do?
What? Both.
So, what I think he should do, I think he should get a speed guy like you're saying, like Tajay Sharp from I think where is he, Toledo? No, was it Toledo? I don't know where he's from.
Tajay Spears.
Tajay Spears.
Tulane,
yeah, that's it. Like he was a really good player. Or Gibbs. Like I would 100% take Gibbs in the second. He's just like I think that element of our offense is what we're lacking is like this home run hitter. But I think there's one thing like there's like it's funny. The Falcons will leave like little tidbits, but not a lot of people will keep up on them. But one known fact from when they were coaching the Shrine Bowl is that they got to pick who they wanted on their team, and Atlanta emphatically took all of the big running backs.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking they're just like, hey, we're gonna punch this ball in your mouth and you're gonna deal with it for 4 quarters. We're gonna have Algier who's gonna run it 12 to 20 times, and then we're gonna have, I don't know, Roshan Johnson from Texas deal with you another 15 times. You're gonna have to deal with 35 carries with 225 coming downhill at you the whole
right
time.
in your mouth. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So like I think they should add some speed. I don't think Arthur believes in that. I think he just wants to punch you as many times. Like I think it's like Floyd Mayweather when he's gonna
Yeah.
keep just punching you. He's not really gonna knock you out, but he's gonna keep punching you, right? I think that's what it's gonna be. He's just gonna keep with the power ball. A guy like Zach Charbonnet from UCLA. He's another. I really like Roshan. I think Roshan's like Tyler Algier with a little bit more burst and speed. So I would love a guy like Roshan, especially his draft projections, like fourth, fifth round. That's a money pick right there, especially in this style of offense where you're going downhill and getting outside. Like I really like Roshan for us.
I was going to ask you how he did because he would have started on any other team. Had he not been behind Bijan.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but yeah, he fits the mold perfectly. So did he look good yesterday? He had some good numbers, and
I mean, they all look so good. Like
I know
the thing that I was blown away by with Jameer Gibbs, like I knew Gibbs was good. I knew him at Georgia Tech, phenomenal player. Like he was just great. Like his feet, like there's absolutely zero wasted motion. Like he doesn't lose speed off cuts, and that's so absolutely rare. Roshan's big, heavy, powerful, so you can see it, but he's got quick feet. Bijan's unbelievable. Like I don't know. Like I said, I wouldn't hate him at 8 for Atlanta just because if you're going to be an elite running team, like you might as well get an elite running back. So those are the two things I tie. And it's funny because I know Carrie hates that. Me and her always butt heads on that. But listen, if that's what I'm saying though. But I also have this other thing. Is that like if you went to the Eagles, like it would like that would be a dream team. Like
Dude, I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah.
Like Bijan on the Eagles with Jalen, AJ. That would be some really fun football to watch. And like I'm a fan of football too, so like I don't know, I kind of want to see that.
Yeah, I don't want the Eagles, but I understand. I mean, it sucks for me like having to even root for Jalen on the Eagles. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah, you told me that during Super Bowl week.
Fucking terrible.
Kerry just said I had someone tell me that they think the Aints will win the division now with Derek Carr. Carr's just okay. Dog, he's the definition of a hot pocket. Like, dog, that's just a plain. Why would you think you win in the division? Like, get Derek. Like, why would you be that confident with Derek Carr?
Yeah,
like
not me.
Coach Pepper said, "Good running backs in this league are dime a dozen. Arthur Smith knows how to develop them." Yeah, I mean, you could definitely say that. He said, "In Keaton Mitchell, that man is blazing fast." Keaton Mitchell, yeah, good point. She said, "Plus, aren't they 14 million over the cap? Before even signing Carr, they're going to have to lose some players. So glad our cap isn't an issue anymore. Yep, Kamara will likely be suspended." Yeah, man.
I love the turmoil they in. It just seems like it's all going bad, and it's like watching a house burn, and you smiling. Like I love it.
Well, there you go, man. Dez is all in.
People are gonna start falling in line with that take. Carrie's gonna come around to it too. We'll see.
Yeah, there she
is. You know how much you love Bijan. So, man, you would take him at 8, John, or just not at 8?
I'm not going to cry tears if they took him because he is just a ridiculous talent. Like, would I do it personally? No, but if they did, then yeah. I mean, I'm not going to be.
If they did,
you can't watch him and be upset.
Would y'all be fine with him getting the most carries and have Tyler be secondary?
You'd have to if you take him at 8. Yeah.
Damn, both of y'all said that. That's hard. Tyler just ran 1,000 yards. Y'all would do that? Y'all cold.
Mike, have you seen Bijan play football?
No, I haven't watched college.
Okay.
See, I don't.
Okay, so
is it generational like that? Like, oh my God,
he's the best running back prospect I've seen in 10 years.
Since so people compared him to like prime Todd Gurley. Remember when prime Todd Gurley was running for like 2,000 yards? Like that. That's what they were saying he does.
Oh shit. Okay. That's hard. Well, that's
he's kind of like, I mean, he's big, but he's stupid fast. He cuts in and out of his breaks.
Run through you.
vision's unbelievable. I mean, like he's like everything you want in a running back. I mean, like and I'm not really even big on taking running backs in the first round anymore. But I mean, and then not that you even, like I said, in our offense, I mean, you don't need that bell cow type of guy. But if Arthur looks at him as like, that's the dude that's going to take us to elevate that offense to the next level, then okay. I mean, I'm not going, like I said, I mean, you can't watch the guy and then be like, man, this is a terrible pick because he's that damn good. But I know I'd still go defense stuff if it was me. But Chris Pepper said, what are y'all's thoughts on running back BJ Taylor, BJ Baylor, who's on our roster? Damski, any word on that, or
I don't even know who that is.
I was gonna say
BJ Baylor. I've never heard that.
Me either, man.
Are you trolling us, sir? What's good, Mike Jones?
Going on, man? Good to see you, bud. That's a look at Arthur Smith down with a 5th rounder with Bijan. It'll be record-breaking stats. Yeah, man, you never know, man. You absolutely never know. So obviously, and the Cowboys franchise Tony Pollard, which not too surprised by, was looking how that season finished up, and Calvin Ridley finally reinstated. How about that? So we finally get our pick. And
need you to do good, buddy.
Yeah, and we can do as good as possible. So, all right, man. So we're going to move on to the main reason we did this show today is defense with Damski.
Defense with Damski. Let's do it.
All right, man. So looking at these prospects, man, if you look at ESPN's top 5, and I'm just picking this randomly for discussion's sake. Bryce Young, number 1, Will Anderson, 2, Jalen Carter, 3, CJ Stroud, 4, and Tyree Wilson, 5. So obviously 3 defensive players in the top 5 on ESPN's board. You agree or disagree with any of that? Anybody you'd add up there? And we can just take it from there.
I with the way they're going, or just the 3 players that are there?
There's 3 players either way, yeah.
People don't want to say it, but I'm pretty sure Christian Gonzalez is a better prospect than Tyree Wilson is. Tyree is an extremely big and strong player, but he's very raw, and you can't just get by being big and strong because everybody in the NFL is big and strong. That's just how it is. Everybody's a freak. Christian Gonzalez has some real serious traits as a cornerback. Plus, he's already good at what he does. I think if I was I was in a position where somebody put a gun to my head who's going to be a better prospect, Tyree Wilson or Christian Gonzalez in 5 years, I would think Christian Gonzalez would be a top flight corner in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm with you. That was one of the guys I did. Actually, I think I did Tyree Wilson too.
Hold on, John. Man, I have no idea who he's talking about, but I know he just said something controversial because the look on his face. I just know he just dropped the bomb, but I have no idea. It's hilarious. You look on his face, he's so serious. I know he just said something crazy, but I don't know the person.
Well, no, it's not crazy, dude. I mean, Christian Gonzalez. I mean, I did one of our draft videos. That was one of the guys I did, and dude, watching the film, like, there's not a lot that you can dislike about him. And then looking at what he did at the combine, he just backed up everything he did on the field. Okay. And folks seem to forget how much that affects your pass rush, whoever you have in that front 7. So, yeah, I'm all about it. And I was looking at Christian and Witherspoon in the same week. So I was looking both of their films. Obviously, different size players. You got Christian, the bigger guy. Witherspoon's probably more of a ball hawking type of guy. He can high point the ball so well, and he understands when to jump, when to get his hands on the ball. Great at that. Christian, dude, they just don't throw at Christian a lot, man. It's similar to AJ. Like, he doesn't get thrown at like a lot of the film I watched. I mean, once, twice during the game, and it's not a whole lot. And he's somebody who can man up. He's got a strong punch. He can drop back, cover in space pretty well. I didn't see a whole lot of deficiency there, no matter how he wanted to play. So, I mean, to me, man, like, I go back and forth with it, but and with Wilson, I kind of saw similar things, man. He's strong and he can bull rush the hell out of you, but like, other than that, like, he's got to develop some other stuff. I mean, that's just not going to fly with some of the NFL tackles, man. It's like, so, I'm for me, and I've said it before, man, I would rather not reach for a pass rusher at 8 that I think might be good, but I know Christian is damn good. Like, I know I've seen it, and like I can, like, those seem to be a little bit easier to project than sometimes. Like I compare pass rushers sometimes to quarterbacks. You don't know how they're gonna, like, they may look great, but man, that's once you get to the league, it's just a different animal, man. So I'm down with Christian Gonzalez at 8, man. And what do you think about another guy that's been kind of controversial, man? Lucas Van Ness. A lot of folks like him a lot, and I saw obviously Daniel Jeremiah mocked him at 8. Some folks lost their minds over it, but
I think so. I was listening to a podcast, draft podcast, and they were saying like early on in draft process, people will put out mock drafts just basically with like the top guys right now in the NFL. They don't like study traits, they don't study like height, weight, all that kind of stuff. So I think seeing guys like Miles Murphy in the top 5, people are like, oh, why is Van Ness being mocked before Miles Murphy? That kind of thing. Miles Murphy is a project too. Like Lucas Van Ness, Miles Murphy, Keon White, like all those guys are are raw prospect. Like these guys aren't going to give you 10 sacks right out the gate like a Nick Bosa. Like that's not what you're getting, and you're going to have to put serious work into developing these people. But the Falcons have been so restricted from like actually rushing the passer. The Falcons fans just want to get a guy to get a guy. You know what I mean? Like, and they don't really understand that there's other avenues to developing this pass rush. And I think Terry Fontenot, who I think Terry's doing a great job. I love Terry Fontenot. But his interview at the thing, he said like yeah, we got to get pass rushers, but if we aren't covering, it doesn't matter who we have back there. If our linebackers aren't covering, if our corners aren't covering, it doesn't matter who's trying to affect the passer because nobody's getting to the ball in 2 seconds. So I think there's something to be said. Like when I was one of the first people on Christian Gonzalez, and I said, man, I would take him with the 8th pick. Oh, you're crazy. We don't need that. We need pass rusher. We need this. We need that. And it's the reality of the situation. Like you need cover guys. You need like 4 or 5 deep cover guys. And people just don't see that. They're just like, oh, this one way I think, or like a podcast host from another podcast would be like, no, anybody tells you corner, they're an idiot. We need pass rushers. But the same, like you're going to get a developmental pass rusher in the second that's going to fit the scheme, like the exact same way that you're going to get a developmental pass rusher in the first that fits the scheme. Like it's just like that's these kind of rushers when we're looking for these 270 pound rushers. Like that's the theme of this draft. So you can get a developmental one like Derek Hall or Keon White in the second versus a guy like Miles Murphy or Lucas Van Ness in the first. Like, what's the difference there? I don't know. We don't know. They got to get into an NFL building. But either way, both of those sets of people, they have ways to go before they're going to be a good pass rusher.
That's true.
And I think the more people understand that these guys aren't finished products, then I think we'll be progressive in what we're trying to do, like what we're trying to teach listeners, right? Like that's why I say look at Christian Gonzalez. Like he's got a high ceiling, but he's already a good player. Like he's going to be a CB2 and he's going to be really good at it right away. But he's still got room. Like the Christian Gonzalez you're getting tomorrow is not the one that's going to be in 5 years. Like he's going to be a good player. And that's what I'm saying. Like if you're looking at what we're trying to do right now, like Christian Gonzalez probably gives you the best bet of being a better defense. And I tweeted this a while ago. I said Atlanta's really close to having a really elite secondary, and I don't think fans understand that enough. Like if they made 2 moves in signing Jesse Bates and Christian Gonzalez, this thing would be taking off, and you would see a much better Falcons defense. And not enough people understand that because they get into a one way of thinking, and then that's it. But Atlanta's really close because if Christian Gonzalez hits and Jesse Bates comes in and he's the player that he was in Cincy, and Richie Grant takes the next step in his development, you bring back Isaiah Oliver, this thing's really rocking on the back end there. And they're going to be doing some real good stuff. So I mean, it's just avenues to do it. I think that's the one thing I'll toot my own horn about is that I look at many avenues rather than just one because that can make us a better team long term, right?
Talk your talk. See, man, he's saying open up your third eye and see that we're gonna win the Super Bowl this year. That's all he's telling y'all. See, can you smell it, man? We get out there. Hey, he bring up a great point when he say we one step away from having an elite D. Like he said, not one step, but very close to having an elite D. If you get Jesse Bates and a good number 2 corner, you really have an elite secondary.
Oh yeah, it'll look good, man.
Mm-hmm.
Big time.
Where he said, I'm with John. B. John is a beast, but a running back at 8, give me a corner, give me a pass rusher. a defensive playmaker. Look at Damski's face. Look at it. He wanted, but I know we took a tight end at 4, so I'm not even going to be shocked if we took a running back.
See, I won't be shocked at
At
anything
least,
that we do.
at least Carrie understands, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is not so far-fetched, but she's in the right mindset. Like, Christian Gonzalez is right there. That's the guy. That's the one we should be going for.
Can just say I want Gonzalez at 8. Nervous the Lions will get him before us, though.
I think I was listening on Saturday to the combine. I think Jeremiah said the most logical spot to him in his eyes for the Lions was Anthony Richardson. And it was kind of like, you know, people say like there's no way because why you can have Jared Goff there, and he says not really because of what Goff is. It's basically what Richardson and his contract would do for the Lions. You know, they had their quarterback for a lot cheaper rate. So they can keep building what they got going on there, which kind of made sense. So, you know, who knows? We'll see. Uncle Steve, what's happening, brother? So what's up, guys? I like Gonzalez as well. Thank you, 95 North Burt. Are there any of those highly projected defensive guys we should steer clear of? Beasley-esque vibes. I don't know, man. You got any Beasley-esque vibes for anybody, man?
Miles Murphy is that.
I kind of was
I
with
know
you
it's,
on that.
yeah, it's same school, but he's just so many times I'm watching film and he's just getting thrown out of gaps. Not even placed out of gaps. He's getting thrown out the club. So I mean, it's like it's like I'm like if he's doing that against, like, you know what I mean, Georgia Tech, like I can only imagine what like the Lions O line with like Ragnow and Panay Sewell is gonna do to him. Like,
Yeah.
so I do question that. Like, that's why when people are like, oh no, we need Miles Murphy at 8, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like sure, why not? Like, you know, as long as he's a defensive player, but I mean, he's just got to get better and stronger. Another one, he's not a first round pick, but I soured on him really quick when I was doing evaluations. Was Sia Ika, the Baylor,
Dude,
or
me
sorry,
too.
is it D tackle?
I'm glad
The
I'm not
nose
the only
tackle.
one. Yeah.
Was it Baylor? Is he at Baylor?
Yeah, Baylor. No. Yeah, Baylor. Yeah.
Baylor?
Yeah.
He's just way too finesse to be in 360. Like, there's too much finesse to his game and too much inconsistency. And I loved him like a year ago. I thought he was a great prospect, but I'm just I was very disappointed when I was watching that film.
Yeah, that's why you can't watch just highlights. Because if you watch just highlights of Miles Murphy or Ika, all you're going to see is them just mauling people, you know? So, like, when I saw the same thing, dude. Like, I was watching film on Ika, and it's like, I think it was West Virginia game. I mean, he's just getting held up by a guard. Single by himself.
Sometimes like, undersized centers, too. And
exactly.
Like, crazy.
And it was just not what you would think a guy that, because he's kind of your traditional, you know, one technique type of guy, you know, and it's like that's number one, you got to have a good fit for that in the league. It's not necessarily the same, you know, it's not 15 years ago when that was fairly common with those 3-4 fronts that were ran all the time. But I mean, yeah, I'm with you there, man. And Murphy, yeah, I mean, there's games you just don't even know he's on the field. You know, and there's some games he comes out of nowhere. I mean, he's just very inconsistent. So I kind of feel like that too, man. I that's the one dude I don't want to take at 8. You know, and what's your thoughts on Brian Breesy, man? Like, I love the story. I love, like, the injury concerns I know are there, but like had himself hell of a combine, you know. I mean,
first off, shout out to that guy. Like, prayers to that dude. Like, he's been through hell this year. Like, I could not believe all the adversity. So yeah, like, prayers for him to even suiting up after everything he went through. But yeah, he's a little bit of a. I always said, like, he's definitely got the traits. And I don't think he's a top 10 player. I think he's that fringe end of first, early second player. But I could see him going to a team like Kansas City and like Chris Jones just taking him under his wing, and then him just being like an absolute freak of nature for the next 10 years. But I think he's raw. I think it's to be said, last year he played a lot of defensive tackle for them, and then he was getting bounced out a little bit too much, so they put him at defensive end to kind of try to protect him a little bit. He just wasn't down with being nitty-gritty last year, and that's okay. You can be a big defensive end. Like, big defensive ends work for us. That's what we're gonna kind of be transitioning to here in Atlanta. But he just doesn't have that speed to bend that corner like that. So I mean, he's a good player. I think he's raw, just like all the other players. But I'd be hesitant to take him in the first. I think he'll slip a bit. I think that's to be said about a lot of these power rushers. The NFL doesn't value power rushers; they just don't. I think you'll see a guy like Will McDonald go before a lot of these power rushers,
Mm-hmm.
and people will be like, "Oh, I didn't see that coming." But the NFL just loves twitchiness; like they just obsessed with it.
Mm-hmm.
A guy that can bend the corner, whether it's at 230 or 240. That's why guys like Big Beasley go in the top 10s because when you see that speed, that able to bend, like they just absolutely love that instead of having a guy like for me, one of my favorite defensive players was Brandon Graham, and he's a power rusher, and he just like he's played 12 years, 13 years in the NFL because he just knows how to go through you rather than around you. He's like, why do I need to go around you when I can just go through you? So I think there's something to be said about that. Like I remember last drafts, like I like Jermaine Johnson a lot, but people don't like him as a defensive end because he doesn't go around people; he goes through them.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something to be said that pass rushers slip a bit, but they're always productive. They end up being at least really good run players. Um, so I mean, at least you're getting something out of them rather than nothing. Because I think pass rushers are, bendy pass rushers are kind of one hit notes. They're either really good at rushing the passer or they're not.
Mhm.
And they're not really a plus in the run game. So it's kind of hard because you're kind of hoping everybody picks up the slack for him not being good in the run game. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just because he's so good at rushing the passer on pass down. So yeah, I think pass rushers that are power rushers in general. I think that's the trend we're going to for our defense. So I'm excited for it. But yeah, Breezy, I like him, but like if he was there in the second, I would probably take him. He's
Mhm.
just top 10's way too rich for
Agreed.
my blood there. Yeah.
What's going on, Alberto? Good
Berto
to see you,
said,
buddy.
"Yo,
Yeah,
fellas, Gonzo is my guy."
huge
Adam
fan of
Graffiti.
Gonzo. Yeah.
Berto.
Chris Pepper's absolutely not trolling. Look it up. Running back BJ Baylor from Oregon State could definitely be a diamond in the rough. We'll do that, buddy. We'll do that.
Yeah.
You should get your own show, Ghost Peppers. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
man.
That
Yeah,
Ghost
question.
Peppers, an undrafted guy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Miss Davis said the sign looks great. Mike, you didn't even point out the sign behind you, man. Look at that.
I got the out of your Falcon mind sign. Thanks, Miss Davis. It's not lit up
Let's
because it's too
see.
light. You wouldn't be able to see it, but we're gonna try it later on.
Carrie said,
Barry
what's so
said,
crazy
"What's
with
so
us?
crazy with us getting on corner at 8 if it's BPA and TF?" I have no idea what those mean. Do y'all know what she tell me?
Terry Fontenot. Terry
Yeah,
Oh,
Fontenot.
okay.
and best
I
best
thought
player
that was
available.
yeah. I
Best
thought that
player
was something.
available. Yeah.
Okay.
And
I
if he's a
thought.
good fit, I'll be happy getting Gonzalez. Alberto
Oh.
put him on my radar. Yeah. Um, yeah, exactly right, man. And what you were just talking about with Nielsen, man, how do you think, or if you think it changed at all, the view going into the draft for going from Pease to Nielsen's style affected how we made a draft, or did it affect it at all?
Yeah, no, it does. It like they really did a good sell job on like, oh, we're gonna stay versatile. If you know coaches, coaches don't change what they do. They love what they do. There might be some wrinkles where they're playing a little bit lighter in the box, but he's gonna get power rushers. Like we're gonna get bigger on the D line. Like we're not gonna do this bendy thing. And that's where I really worry for a guy like Arnold Ebiketie. Great player, super great player. I just wonder how much that Ryan Nielsen's gonna like him. And he's kind of got that frame where I think he's maxed out on his weight. He's about 258 the last I seen.
Yeah, I can't see him get much
Um,
heavier than that.
yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to add on like no 7 pounds and be what he was, right? Um, but they could play it in like what's called an overfront where you have three bigger defensive linemen and one smaller one who kind of drops and does that kind of stuff. So maybe they could play it like Arnold Ebiketie plays off the edge like that. But then that kind of is in tune with like I don't think Lorenzo Carter would be bad in that sense if Arnold Ebiketie is going to be doing that, and if they're going to be running over fronts like that, then I could see that. But yeah, I'm really excited for bigger D linemen. He talked about being light in the box in an interview, and I really like the sounds of that. Getting the players is going to be paramount to that actually working because if you're going to play 6-on-5 and hope six on when I say 6-on-5, it's like the four D linemen, the two linebackers, so that's six
Mm-hmm.
versus five offensive linemen. I was just trying to explain that so Mike could roll with me on that. So if you're going to be playing 6-on-5, you got to have really good tacklers and guys that can defeat blocks on themselves, right? So yeah, I'm really excited because then it puts more guys in pass coverage if that's what they're doing. And somebody I was looking at the chat too. Somebody mentioned Brian Branch as a nickel. Like he would be a great like his 40 time is going to probably drop him out of the first.
Mhm.
But in the second round, he would be a tremendous player to like kind of go with that nickel. Like Terry Fontenot was talking about having a really good nickel corner, but be able to attack and be a linebacker sometimes too. Like that's Brian Branch to a T, and his IQ would be like absolutely off the charts. And then you're at a mismatch when you have 7-on-5, right? So I think I think tackling's got to get better on this team. Like I know people point at Troy Anderson and be like, "Hey, he had a good season," but like a lot of his tackles were downfield, not at the line of scrimmage. So I just think like our linebackers got to be upgraded a little bit, and like our corners got to be upgraded a little bit. Our defensive line's got to get bigger too. So yeah, like I think the philosophy wise, I think we will get bigger, and I think that's what we do because defensive coaches are coaches in general don't drift far from what they've learned, right?
Mhm.
And Ryan Nielsen's been a four down lineman for a long, long time. Having an interview with somebody over defensive positions and probably not going to change his mindset on things, right?
Yeah, I can definitely see. I mean, a few former Saints maybe coming over, that would fit that
Mhm.
description too. If that's something that they, whether it be on your motto or,
Mhm.
I know Davenport's had the injury issues, but he definitely fits that
Mhm.
mold. If he can be healthy, man, that's a
He's so good when healthy. He's really
man.
good when
Yeah,
healthy.
damn good. Yeah, that's the only
Mhm.
caveat. Um, do you think that that Jalen Carter's draft prospects got hurt at all by this, or you think he's pretty much by the time the draft rolls around that'll be squashed and he'll go still top five
Uh,
and the caveat that with if by chance he dropped there at 8, are you taking him at 8 over Gonzalez?
oh yeah,
Yeah, okay.
it's not even a question.
Okay, yeah,
I'd like I said, if he dropped, I'd be coming from Canada with that on the draft card.
absolutely. Okay, good. We're on the same
It's
page
not
then, yeah.
even, yeah, it's not even a question. It's, it's a really sticky situation.
Yeah.
Obviously you feel terrible with what happened to the player, and I think she was involved with the school in some sort, right? I forget what she
Yeah,
was,
she was
athletic trainer or
like
something.
PA or trainer, yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, or something like that. It's unfortunate. Um, the I don't want to say anything controversial, but I they're being kids, right? It's just
Of course.
unfortunate
Yeah.
that sometimes being kids can go too far.
Mhm.
He's 21 years old. He probably makes $1 million off of NIL. So when you're driving a fast car at 20 years old, I know I was going over a buck in Canada. It's kilometers, but I guess it would be I don't know what's considered fast in the US. Like
Mhm.
the highways are like 65 there, right?
Yeah, 60,
Yeah, 65, 70, yeah, on the highway,
So
yeah.
what's fast? Like 100 miles per hour?
like
Or
100.
Yeah,
120?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
100?
and yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm sure kids will be kids. I know I was going fast. I was driving my cars fast when I was a kid. And yeah, I was racing my friends, and that's basically what it is, right? Like he was racing his friends, and a tragedy happens. Those things happen. Should he have run from the police? No, he shouldn't have. But um, and made up like a different story. Yeah, no, he shouldn't have, but like he's a
Mhm.
kid and he's gonna learn. It's just unfortunate the way that it ended, right? Um, I just hope he learns from it, and I hope this doesn't define him as a person because it shouldn't. But you got to understand, black athletes in general are held to a higher standard. And it's unfair. But he'll be labeled as like a thug and stuff like that now, which is unfortunate
Of
because
course.
that's the world we live in, and it's extremely unfortunate because if Lucas Van Ness did it, it would have been swept under the rug as oh kids will be kids. But as it is, that's how it is, and it's unfortunate. And I hope like I hope Jalen does. I hope he does fall to 8, and he can come back, and then that way he's around his people. Like he definitely needs his people too at this point in time too,
Mhm.
right? So yeah, staying in Georgia and getting the right support system would be great for Jalen as well. So I wouldn't hate that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you both, man, and me and Mike talked about it, I mean,
Mhm.
it's immediately it's character issues, and I thought that it's kind of bullshit, man. I mean, like, if it's if it's character issues, and we all got character issues. I mean, that's because, like, yeah, I mean, we all did dumb shit when we were 20, 21 years old. I mean, that's just like Mike said it last week. I mean, some people get caught, some bad things happen, some people get away with it. I mean, like, it all depends on, your luck of the draw, man. So
Mike said something very extremely relatable. He's like, if I got caught for all the dumb shit that I was doing, I'd be in jail. A lot of us are like that, man. Imagine if you had $1 million on top of that at 20 years old as well. I mean, we'd be doing some even more dumb stuff, right? So it is what it is. Praying for Jalen, obviously praying for the families involved as well. And yeah, I would definitely say Jalen without even a damn thought about it.
100%, man. 100%. Carrie said, there you go, buddy. The missed tackles drive me crazy. Damski, isn't that one of the first things they teach in defensive coordinators?
I'm such a stickler on tackling because tackling's not taught right anywhere, mostly. But I come from a rugby background. So my background, I played college rugby, played Ontario for Team Ontario. So that would be like a state thing, I guess would be there. Like I played provincial, so you'd be playing for like kind of like the state, I guess that would be in the States. And tackling in rugby is like you make 35, 40 tackles a game, like almost everybody does. So I come from a good background where I teach it differently than Canadian coaches, football coaches teach it. I teach it like rugby's kind of being brought into the NFL a lot now. Like Dan Quinn brought that, Pete Carroll brought that, and it's a really good thing to teach. I don't know how NFL systems works. I went to Browns training camp this year. My son's a Browns fan. I know, I'm sorry. But we went this year and they do put a pretty big emphasis on tackling each way through. But again, you have to have a really good linebacker coach as well. And I think we do. I think Bush is good. I think um, I've said it time and time again. I thought Dean Pease asked a lot of our linebackers last year, and they didn't really hold up to their end of the bargain. But I also thought Dean Pease put them in bad spots. So I think hopefully this year with the bigger defensive line, you'll see better linebacker play. But who knows?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Obviously, we know Gonzalez is your CB1. How what would be 2 or 3 for you if he's off the board? Would there be another cornerback you'd be happy with us taking at 8 or?
At 8, yeah, well, Will Witherspoon without question.
Yeah,
I said earlier, people love the expression, but he knocks the Sonic coins out of people.
Sure
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, dude smacks the shit out of people, and he can cover too. Like I post a lot of his highlights of him hitting people, but dude's sticky in coverage too. I think Devin Witherspoon would be probably the next player down. I would take Devin Witherspoon over the corners or over the pass rushers too. A lot of people have Witherspoon as the top corner in this class. It's kind of between Witherspoon and Gonzalez, but I also think I've heard numerous times that I heard the Lions and the Raiders both like Witherspoon a lot. So I've kind of been operating under the thought process that he might not be there when we pick. Another guy, a lot of people are higher on Joey Porter Jr., the quarterback
long
out of Penn
ass
State.
arms, man.
Yeah, I like him, but I I don't think he's a top 10. I don't even think he's a top 20 player, to be honest with you. I know it's a little bit controversial, but um, it's funny. He didn't do any of the backpedaling drills, and that was a major knock on him. Is
Yeah,
that
his
he
hips.
was shaded a lot at Penn State, and he never really had to backpedal. So people are questioning like if he can do it. And then he was never going to do it today because he had to go. He was really close with going Christian Gonzalez, like close to Christian Gonzalez in
That would have been
positional
really
drills.
bad, really
It
bad.
would have looked really bad when you see a guy like him. Like another guy, Emmanuel Forbes, I thought he struggled with the on-field stuff for DBs. Um, it's either he struggled or Christian Gonzalez is just really good. I'm trying to figure out which one it is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I just think Porter was smart for not going up where a place where Christian Gonzalez is because you would see the deficiencies in their back pedals a lot. I think I have a problem with his press. When he's in press, he shoots wrong hands a long time. His hands and his feet aren't intertwined when he's pressing. And that's something in the NFL that's going to concern you a long time, especially when you're going up against like Drake Londons of the world. Like
Mhm.
it's going to be tough. because those guys are big, physical, and they can run. And if you misstep, NFL receivers just take full advantage of that. So yeah, I think Will Witherspoon is the guy I like. DJ Turner, he was the guy in the second that's a nice little corner. He's from Michigan, and I liked Rick's from Bama too.
Alabama,
He's
yeah.
a little bit raw. But I also did like the one guy I've been pounding the table for is Julius Brents. I forget his school, but it was a smaller school. Yeah, Kansas State.
Hmm.
Um, incredible. Like he's huge. He's a really big corner. I think he's got a lot of upside. I think he's gonna go day two. But if you miss on Christian Gonzalez and you want another good fluid corner, like Julius Brents was really locked down in the Senior Bowl. He was really locking down everything there. He can run. He was a guy I liked as well. But yeah, the corners, there's a lot of good corners. You can really get I would take multiple stabs at it this year. I'd probably take one or two this year, but I would definitely not leave it alone because there's a lot of good ones.
And we talked last week about how the Falcons love the Senior Bowl players too. So I mean
Mhm.
Yeah,
that could come into play too. But yeah, I
yeah.
mean when I watched Porter, man, it was when he did backpedal or had to flip. I think it's just because his hips are so high. He's got so long legs. It's just he's
Mhm.
not as fluid. Mike, if you go watch Christian Gonzalez from the combine, dude. When he's backpedaling and turning, it's just so effortless and fluid,
Yeah.
man. It's just my God, like it's just yeah. He would have looked terrible next to him doing that or trying
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah, it's one thing I really teach to like my kids now is like if like hips don't lie, like Shakira said, right? Like they don't. And if you're stiff, then it's gonna look stiff and it's gonna look rough. Big fan of Shakira, by the way.
Oh
I
yeah,
like it,
yeah.
buddy. I love it.
Yeah, he said Alberto said thoughts on Keetrell Clark from Louisville. Have you watched anything on him?
I have not. So I've done some work on his draft class, just not the amount that I've had, but I've heard good things about Clark. I've heard he's a guy I gotta check out. I was watching the NFL did a great job covering this year because they did like kind of like highlights, so to speak, of each drill.
Mhm.
And Clark was a standout, a guy that I was like, oh, I gotta go watch this film because he looks so fluid through drills. And I think he ran good too. So yeah, he was the guy. Cam Smith was the guy I like too from SC. His Senior Bowl stuff was, or it wasn't Cam Smith, it was Rush, Darius Rush in the Senior Bowl.
Side note, Kerry said, Mike, I think you added red in your hair. I have a lot of colors in my hair. I just redid it since I caught us
Nice.
last live. Looks good. Thank you. Can't go wrong with red and black. There you go. Such a great color combo. You can't go wrong with it. You
Right.
put it on anything.
I
I
only
love
have
it.
gray and brown at the moment, but
Let's see
see what
this.
I can. I'll see what I can do.
Get
I
get
gotta
a little
keep it
bit of
fresh.
grays in there too.
Trey Purdy says, anybody have an insight on how Nielsen uses linebackers? Dog,
Thank
who
you,
you think
Trey.
we got on the show? Hold on for a minute, sir. I'm insulted. Who you think we got on the show? You can't ask no defensive questions and say if. Of course we got insight. We got Damski on the show. Damski, go ahead.
So when I was watching them, the one thing I came away with is like our linebackers got to be able to run. Like they got to be able to run and cover because what Demario Davis and Pete Warner were doing for New Orleans, like they were responsible for crossers. So crossers is going from one side of the formation to the other side of the formation is exactly how you would think it would be. And their pickup, their key is when so it's a number. Do you guys? I don't know. So so when you're coaching defense, you get it. So the number system is you work from one to whatever number on the sideline. So if there's one receiver over there, he's one, right? So as a defensive player, you would say he's number one. But if there's four players over there from the sideline in, you would count one, two, three, four, and then their responsibility usually is three. So if three is coming across the field, they got to be able to run and go across that field. That's why I was talking. Me and John were talking about Ivan Pace Jr. Um, he's undersized, but he can run, and I said he would be a really good fit because on ski on plays where he's got to run and haul ass, he's a guy that can do that, but he can also be a really good asset in the run game. So the linebackers have to be able to run, but they have to also be what's called gap responsible. So on defense, you got A, B, and C and D gap. A is between the guards and center. B is between guards and tackle, and then CD is tight ends and outside. So they're usually responsible for A and B, and then they slide as the play gets going. Right, the D line will get going on one side, and they'll keep rolling and they do what's called a fill and scrape. So the first linebacker fills the gap, the second one scrapes down the gap, and that's how you usually stuff gaps. And what works for this system is that Ryan Nielsen has really big defensive linemen, so they usually occupy what's called a gap and a half. So they usually occupy like A and half of B gap, if that makes sense. And then the DN will be responsible for B and half of C. And then so what the difference you'll see there is the defensive line will be having hands on the offensive lineman, where last year DNPs were really forcing these guys to take on guards right off the bat. And they should be able to do that, but it takes a special kind of linebacker to do that. And Troy Anderson was not that kind of linebacker. The only real linebacker that we had that did that was Mikael Walker, but Mikael really struggled in open field tackling. And it's just so funny. We just had a bad mix of linebackers last year because they didn't complement each other well. Because what Rashawn did well, like Mikael didn't do well. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was kind of like a bad mix of linebackers. But long story short, like these linebackers are going to be able to play a little bit more freely as long as the defensive line is doing good. That's why I've been kind of advocating for a guy like Draymond Jones from Denver, who's a really big defensive tackle, who's a 3-down defensive tackle who can play the run and play the pass. You're going to need bigger defensive linemen. And I just think getting a guy like Draymond, who's really good at what he does, helps Grady, but also helps the linebackers, right? And then I do think we need to add a linebacker that can run a little bit better, like an Ivan Pace, or I like Henry To'o or whatever from Bama. He's a really good player too. So yeah, that long story short, linebackers got to be able to run and be responsible for outside gaps.
So I got a question because that really reminded me of something. Trey Purdy, you are the only one, sir, who have taken advantage of what I'm about to do. Now we have Adam on the show. We can't waste that by asking him regular questions. You ask Adam, when you get Adam, it's like Birdo. When you get it, you gotta have questions lined up for these two. So now we play Damski, the Mansky with the Plansky, okay? You can't say that you don't know because you're a coach. So we just want your opinion is weighted. Okay.
Okay.
We know you know what you're talking about. So we run down a few things and we get your take on them because they mean something to us. Let's go. What is your take on the prevent defense? You are a coach. Is this effective? Is this useful? Should this be banned? Go.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
But I'm an aggressive coach. Why we ran it last year was because of who Dean Pease is. He believes in that you don't have the time when you're like, there were some situations where they wouldn't have a timeout, but they could give up the middle of the field, and he like kind of didn't think that you could go down like that quickly to take advantage of it.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it. I think there's avenues like not a new defense, but a defense that's becoming popular is quarters defense, where you're playing quarter of the field. I think that's a better situation than playing prevent, because prevent you're already off and your corners are already giving up 10 yards.
That's okay.
10 to 12 yards, right? Like I would play quarters, but I would play it closer to the line, and I would give them 5 and then being like, hey, just go carry everything vertically. If the route looks like it's going vertical, go vertical, even if it's not vertical, because then we'll just rally to the ball and tackle. But I wouldn't. It's just, that's not in my nature as a coach. But some coaches are different. And when we went to it last year, I understood it because that's who Dean Pease is as a coach. But that wouldn't be me as a coach. I don't think Ryan Nielsen doesn't strike me as that kind of guy either. He seems like he's going to go get after it instead of just giving you what you're trying to get. Like, you know what I mean? Offenses run way too effective these days, and they've practiced these 2-minute situations way too much to being like, hey, here's 8 yards off the hop, go get what you want.
Right.
That's just not in my that's not in my nature as a coach. And like, you can ask any player that's ever coached. Like, if I'm going down swinging. I'm not going down giving you what you want. Yeah.
I love it, buddy. Now, so let's keep going. Now, in Canada, is a double quarter pounder with cheese called a double royale with cheese. We want to know because we heard that on Pulp Fiction. Is that true?
Oh, a double quarter. Where? So from where?
Or
Just or any
so, like
regular
the double
store?
quarter pounder, if you go to McDonald's, it's called what at your McDonald's in Canada? Like the
It's
number
called.
four,
It's
the
called
one
a
that
double quarter. Yeah, it's called a double quarter pound. It is number four.
it's still a double quarter pounder. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Well, that was good. Okay.
Great
Baltimore.
Now
burger, by the way. That's a great burger.
it
That's a
is. It
great
It
really
burger
is
is.
choice.
trash,
Yeah.
but it tastes great. Now,
Yeah.
Jose, I have another one. What is your biggest thing that you stress in terms of football? When you coach your defenses, what's the number one thing that Damski is stressing to his defense?
My biggest thing is play for each other. Rally to the ball, do your assignment, right? Like I would never like if a guy like one thing I always teach is like everybody to the ball. I think that's a common theme. A lot of
Mhm.
people talk it, not a lot of people coach it. Um, but be there for one another, right? Like I know one of my biggest thing is like when one guy's holding onto a tackle but he can't bring him down and everybody's just kind of watching. I'd rather pack mentality where everybody comes and finishes it, right? So I say protect each other.
Mhm.
I'm a very fun coach. You can ask any player that I've coached. I want the kids to have fun. I let them wear whatever because in Canada you can't wear any colored visors.
Mhm.
You can't have your back plate showing. You can't. They don't really let you express themselves. So the way I counteract that is Monday through Thursday, you can wear whatever you want at my practice. When
Okay.
a lot of coaches they don't let that, and
Mhm.
I want them to have fun. And I find when like you'll get better results when the kids are having fun.
Mhm.
And people will be like, "Oh, football's not about fun. You got to be serious." But the kids got to like what they're doing. At the
Mhm.
end of the day, if I tell them to show up with like, you know what I mean, with no visor and the jerseys tucked and something, they're not having
Mhm.
fun. So my biggest thing on the field is play for one another. You know, if somebody throws a punch, everybody go in there. I'll take the blame for telling them to do that. But that's just how
I
it is.
love
Like
you,
you
buddy.
gotta, yeah, you gotta protect one of
Yeah.
each other. And it's a unit. Like you guys got to go as a unit. If everybody's on the same page, then everybody should understand that, right?
I love it. All right, let's keep going. Damski the Mansky with the Plansky. The best cornerback you've ever seen is
Cornerback.
cornerback.
Ah, I gotta give I was young when Dion was playing. I was really young, so I
Mhm.
didn't really appreciate him the way I should have. But Daryl Reeves probably
Mhm.
was him for me.
Mhm.
But a low key one that never gets talked about is Antonio Cromartie.
Mhm.
I fucking loved that dude play football, man. He was exciting. He made a lot of crazy plays. Like he did the Odell Beckham before the Odell Beckham. Like a lot of people don't know that, but he made a really nice one-handed snag.
Mhm.
And he's a really underrated corner. Like he had a 10 interception season that nobody talks about. And he was a really good corner. He's really fun through his prime. But I would say Daryl Reeves hands down was the funnest corner that I ever got to witness.
Del Rivas, you heard of it? I got another one for you. How does Damski? Now you ordered a pizza. You had the
Oh
pizza
yeah.
that night. It's morning time. How are you reheating your pizza? Are you putting it in the microwave, oven, steaming it? How are you reheating a slice
Steaming
of
it.
pizza?
I'm definitely air fryer guy. Have you
Oh,
Oh, I
ever
love it.
have you
yeah,
ever have
okay.
you ever warmed it up in the air fryer?
I have
No,
not, but
never
I will
tried that.
Buddy,
now.
buddy, it literally tastes like the exact same day before. There's no difference. It
Oh,
warms up the exact same. Like I didn't do it, but I bought an air fryer. Like first off, this is 100% an ad for air fryers. Like
Oh,
I
dude,
literally use air fryers for everything.
it's
I
a game
cook
changer, dude.
everything. Yeah, it's I don't
It's
even I don't even use my oven anymore. I cook all my chicken. I cook everything in the air fryer. My veggies, I cook them all in the air fryer. It's a game changer. So if you don't got one, go like you're seriously missing out. That's a game changer.
100%
But
agree.
yeah, put pizza, warm up anything in the air fryer. You know what's? I'll tell you this. This is gonna change your life. I don't know. Is grilled cheese is a big thing there?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Do a grilled cheese in the air fryer,
That's a
and then
great
tell
idea.
me, tell me
That's a great
about it.
idea.
I'm just telling. I'm
All right.
telling you, man. Yeah,
So I got one more.
air
I
fryers
got
the
I
move.
got one more. Now this is the grand one. All of us Falcons want to ask you. You are a defensive guy. Hate to bring this up, but when we lost the Super Bowl, what would Damski have done different on defense. You can't affect offense. You're the defensive coordinator in the Super Bowl that we lost. What do you do different during that game, especially in the second half?
So long ago. I don't even remember what we were doing.
We fucked up royally. We lost a great
We fucked up really. Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck.
No,
I mean,
we got tired because what happened? We got tired and they kept.
Yeah, I think I would say to my offensive coordinator, "Hey man, run the fucking ball." But
Exactly.
but there was a few times in the drive that I was like, "Why is Vic Beasley in coverage? He has 16 sacks this year. Like this is kind of crazy. We kind of need to stop. Why is he in coverage? I mean, he could even made the interception on the goal line there. I remember. I think it was either or something like that. I don't even remember, but I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, why are we not rushing him? That makes no sense. Like he was having a really good year. Like probably should be rushing him at that point, but you kind of get, like I said, you kind of get complacent and you don't think that these guys can move the ball that quickly. And New England was piping hot. So Vic Beasley rushing more probably would have been my thing. And I probably would have not let him have um the time. Like I definitely would have been rushing a little bit more, but Atlanta was just so passive and they didn't think they thought they had the perfect cushion. Too, I would have benched Robert Alford's ass for dropping that interception that Julian Edelman made that dumbass catch. That was by far my biggest frustration from that game was it wasn't even super, like he didn't even have to do a super crazy catch. It was pretty like jump ball, get it. Like it was, he could have made it. There was no reason. One thing I always say to my players is don't be scared to be great, and he was completely scared to be great in that moment.
I love 100%. It. Damski, the Mansky with the Plansky. You got to ask him questions when you get him on. I love it. Thanks, buddy.
Question from
No problem.
Ray said the Chiefs are releasing Frank Clark. Is he someone the Falcons could look into?
He's probably just he's going to be fishing for a Super Bowl. He's either fishing for a Super Bowl now, or you're probably looking for a huge payday. He's a good player, but I would have a limit to what I would be paying him because he is a bit older too, right?
Yeah, he's up there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd be cautiously optimistic. Like somebody was asking me too about Leonard Floyd and Bud Dupree because they both got cut today by Rams and Titans. Sorry, just not scheme fits. They're just not there. They're just not there on what they're doing.
Damn, Skeeter, man, Skeet. Mike has, and hold on because I do have one more. What is to you, because you are a defensive coach, what is the position on the field that is hardest, but we overlook it? That you just know personally, man, that's a tough job, but that we all kind of overlook it.
It's defensive tackle, man. Like there's so much defensive tackles. It's just such like a non-glory position, but if you ask any defensive coordinator what a player like a Vita Vea could do for your defense, it opens up linebackers, it opens up other pass rushers. They don't get anything out of it. They're not pretty. Their contracts aren't massive. It's just a nasty position where you need a good one. They're hard to find because you need guys that can play 3 downs, but they just don't get the glory that they should. You ask any linebacker that has a good defensive lineman in front of them, and say that defensive lineman misses like a nose tackle misses a couple games. Ask him what his life is like, and he'll tell you, "Hey man, we need Vita Vea back," or "Hey, we need Draymond Jones back." That's why I've been advocating for Draymond Jones because I think he does that for us. He not only helps us at that one position, but he helps all the other positions around him.
Be huge, yeah. And one guy like in the draft later, he'll probably be like, 4th, 5th round type of guy that could do that on a rotational is DJ Dale from Alabama. Dude that's literally all he does. He's not a fantastic pass rusher, but he wrestled in high school. The man has amazing balance. Like he does not get pushed backwards. Like he'll sit there and occupy 2 dudes, and he's either going to go back into the backfield or he's going to stand right up, and he's going to let those linebackers. Like he Will Anderson and Toa Toa and those guys benefited so much from him. Like, well, bringing in Will Anderson on stunts, twists, whatever, he could get through because him and Byron Young were sitting there occupying 4 dudes by themselves. You know what I mean? So like a lot of his success was there. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you, man. It's just it's a dirty job that doesn't get a whole lot of praise or thanks. But Carrie said, my question for Damski there.
Questions. You have to ask him while you got him. So Carrie got another question for Damski. She said her question for you is, can you be her ketchup chips plug? She said, are they good? She always wanted to try them, but she'd never been to Canada. Now, what is a ketchup chip, buddy?
I'm dying, dog. Ketchup chips are they're pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, they are good. Do you guys have all dress chips there or no?
What are they called?
All dress?
I don't think so.
I don't even know what that is. No.
Okay, so ketchup chips I think are a little bit overrated. All dress chips are what you need in your life. They're my favorite chip by a mile. And you know what, John? When I come down to Georgia in June, I'll bring you a bag of both ketchup and all dress chips.
Yes,
and
yes.
You guys can try them because then you'll be hooked. And then you can get them on Amazon.ca. If you go Amazon.ca, you can order these Canadian things. You might pay a little bit more, but you can order them.
Well, I already have a chip problem, so that could be an issue then.
Me too.
That's like
biggest difference between the States and Canada is what? Just one glaring difference. This is going to be super controversial because he is dropping bombs today. I love this shit.
So I go to the States often. I do. I go various places in the South, West Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. I travel a lot. I live in Canada. I will say people in the States are more polite.
Oh, I never heard that. I heard Canada.
Never heard that either.
Nice.
I that's one more. I don't know. Maybe I'm an approachable guy and people are nice to me, but it's really controversial. And I say that to all my Canadian friends all the time, and they're like, "There's no way." I'm like, "Man, Canadians are rude as hell," because they think they're entitled. They're like, you know what I mean? Like, I think they think they're better than everybody, but I honestly feel like people in the States are more polite than Canadians.
That's hilarious.
And I've said that before. And people look at me like I'm dumb.
Yeah, I've definitely never heard that before. That's hilarious.
The South representing.
South is. When I went to South Carolina, I went to a Popeye's chicken there, and they were out of chicken. I thought it was going to be World War II. But man, people were like singing. They're like, "Hey, we'll wait for chicken to come." I was like, "Oh damn, man!" I'm like, this like we're all having sweet tea. I'm like, "This is great."
Love it.
Oh man, that's hilarious. All right, man, we're approaching an hour and a half, so we'll probably go ahead and start wrapping up. So I'm gonna just run through some players, man, and you can just give me a quick snippet on them, some that we know that people are interested in, we want to touch on. Oh, real quick though, Carrie said she didn't know she could order from Amazon Canada, and neither did I. So I'm gonna have to go check this out myself.
Learning on the podcast.
Yeah.
Damski
Aaron said, "Yeah, who was holding a gun to your head to say we were polite?" That's hilarious. Maybe it depends on the part. I guess it depends on the area that you go to.
Southerners. That's what Carrie said.
There it is.
I'll say that's one of the biggest differences too in the U.S. is like I go to Dick's, so we don't have Dick's Sporting Goods here, and like all of our American players, like they flock to it the second that we get to the States. And the biggest difference is like it's like football cleats, hockey stuff, baseball stuff, guns. That's not something that happens in Canada.
God damn.
Yeah. Like people trying out guns and stuff, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? It's weird to me. Yeah.
No, it's still kind of weird to me, to be honest. But all right, man. So, and you can this can just be commenting on like your thoughts on them. For us, quick thoughts or whatever. I will start edge rusher. Well, I guess / linebacker Nolan Smith. After his stupid combine and season.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Really good player. One thing that I've hey,
the dog like Nolan
my puppy. Yeah, no puppy. He's a dog, right? It's Nolan Smith. One thing that I've seen that I actually am interested in, and just seeing his play style. I'm curious to see him as an off-ball linebacker instead of an edge rusher because I don't think he's there as an edge rusher. I think he can be a really good off-ball linebacker. Um, Off-ball linebacker being like a Mike linebacker, so an inside linebacker, or a will linebacker, which is next to the Mike linebacker when you have those two linebackers when
Hmm.
we're in nickel. So I'd be curious to try him there because he's a really good athlete, and there's no real alpha middle linebacker in this class, so I would probably try him there. Like I'd be intrigued. He's one of those players you kind of get into your building and then you find everybody else's spot and then you plug the freak at that spot that you need, right?
Yeah, I think he's
So
one of
yeah,
those.
I would.
Yeah, I think he's one of
Yeah,
those guys that could definitely cover those crossers you were talking about with
yeah,
him
exactly. He
Wilson.
can
Yeah,
run. He's
yeah.
tall. He's physical. Yeah, like 100%.
Trenton Simpson, Drew Sanders, Jack Campbell.
So Jack Campbell, I did some work on. He's a really good Mike. He's a guy, and his athletic score actually was really good. I think he was 99th percentile on a lot of stuff, which shocked me because he would be a really good Mike. I have my questions about having two young linebackers, especially one that's super raw and Troy Anderson. But Jack Campbell's one of those guys that does everything right.
Hmm.
So he's just not like twitchy enough, and so people don't love that. But there was a guy that the Bengals drafted that really solidified the middle of their defense was Logan Wilson, and he reminds me a lot of him. I love Logan Wilson coming out. Um, so he would be a guy that I would be interested in. Trenton Simpson, another athlete of a linebacker. I question if he's going to be physical enough in the NFL. I do like him because he can run. But if you're playing him as a will, that it kind of unlocks him a bit to like kind of do the crazy stuff, and just kind of run around and hit shit. And that's kind of what he's good at. Who's the other linebacker you said?
Just
Drew
run around and
Sanders.
hit shit should be on a like a t-shirt. That should be the logo.
I've
Yeah,
been saying that way too much, but that's like conducive with like
I
a
love it.
lot of guys in this
it
draft.
really is.
Sorry, what was the other
Oh,
linebacker?
Drew Sanders, Arkansas.
Oh, Drew Sanders, super raw player. I'm not really sure because he's a lot like Troy Anderson, where he's late to his reads. He's a developmental guy, but he's I think he tested really well. So I can imagine a world where he's going to go a little bit earlier than I would take him. But if he was like a third round pick, I think I would take him because he is a physical player.
Yeah.
He's just raw. He's played too many positions. I think he was an edge rusher at Bama, and then he switched to Arkansas and became
Hmm.
a Mike. He wasn't really polished as an outside linebacker. Then switching to an inside linebacker, he probably can come downhill plenty fast enough, but he's just raw on some stuff.
Yeah, agreed. I like him a lot. He was when I was watching the tape on Gibbs. Actually, he kept flashing during that. Kept flashing across the screen and caught my eye. And it was a guy I didn't want to really lose from Alabama. Like he wasn't great off the edge. I think he's actually his best fit somewhere as a linebacker. It's just a matter of what's going
Yeah.
to benefit him the most. But and Campbell, yeah, you're right, man. He's like he kind of reminds me of like an old school type of linebacker. He's even got an old school name. I mean, Jack Campbell sounds like a guy
Jack
from the 80s.
Yeah,
Campbell.
no.
I mean, but
Yeah.
I like him a lot, man.
Now,
Um,
man, hold on, man. Damski has sneaked this man Anderson 3 times on the show. So we need to talk about why you don't like Troy Anderson.
No, I do. He's a really good athlete. He's late. I thought late in the year they tried to hide him in coverage a little bit by making him play flat. Defense instead of hook zone, so flat's kind of like in the first 5 yards, kind of where the cornerback lines up. He'll run out there and kind of cover ground. Um, because he was such a liability in pass coverage. I just think he's raw, and I think he's got a long ways to go.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are pegging him. They're like, "Oh, he's going to be this breakout star." Even Arthur Smith said how good he was, but it's like I don't, unless I'm just fucking dumb and I'm not seeing it right. You know what I mean? I think a lot of his tackles came downfield. Like I'm talking like he's
Yeah.
basically doing what Deion Jones was doing. And I was tackling the ball carrier like 8, 9 yards downfield. That's not really helping anybody. Like, sure, if it's 3rd and 16, he's helping, but if it's 1st and 10 and you hit a guy at 4 yards and he's dragging you to 8, like that's
Mhm.
that's rough, right? So I think I'm hoping that he's raw, so I'm hoping that he takes the next step and he becomes a little bit more physical and his instincts are there. But we knew this. Like when we drafted him, if you wanted a finished project, you could have drafted Leo Chanel,
Yeah, I got
who went to
too.
the Chiefs. That was a really good player.
Mhm.
Um, but you know what I mean? You took the athlete and you said that you could develop them. So
Mhm.
hopefully we'll see it. Ryan Nielsen's known for developing front seven players, so hopefully he's the guy.
Yeah, I think I can't remember who was on one time for the fan. It was one of the guys that was like from Montana State podcast or whatever, and he said that he was one of the smartest dudes that they've ever come
Yeah.
across. And so like,
Mhm.
they had no doubt that this is before the season. So like they kind of even precluded like he may not be where you want yet, but as soon as he understands it and gets
Yeah.
it, then like you look
Mhm.
out because
Yeah.
he's gonna be because
Mhm.
yeah, his athleticism is there. It's just a matter of him kind
Yeah.
of understanding what he's doing. Um and last couple ones, man. Uh Keely Ringo,
Oh
uh,
man.
from Georgia, and Noah Sewell. I know the different positions, but Mike actually
Mhm.
did Keely Ringo
Mhm.
and Noah Sewell.
Yeah.
Wasn't really sold on Noah Sewell. I don't believe you
No.
were, Mike.
Yeah. But I was sold
And
on Ringo.
yeah, so
But Damski don't look sold on. I could just see it. He's not sold on either one of them.
No,
Y'all, I can feel
no,
it coming.
yeah, Ringo's raw. He's got a little bit of ways to go. I think so. One thing I talk about is being scheme dependent on one scheme. I think
Mhm.
if Ringo goes to like a Seattle or Dallas style defense, which is the cover three, where he's only got to really worry about a third of the field, I think he'll be okay. I think in this style of defense, where you kind of got to play man off, inside, outside, I think he'll struggle in that style of defense
Mhm.
because he loses. Like I talked about hands and feet going hand in hand. That's funny analogy, but hand and feet going hand in hand, but they do. Um, Ringo struggles with that. He's very raw. I think if you want to see the worst of him, go watch him against Marvin Harrison. He really had no clue how to defend him.
Mhm.
it's true.
I understand Marvin Harrison is who he is, but there was Pac-10 corners that, or sorry, Pac-10, Big Ten corners that were able to get hands on him at least and make him work for it. Ringo wasn't even able to do that.
Mhm.
And I Marvin Harrison's going to be a generational receiver. I'm not even knocking Ringo for that, but you got to let at least make him work for what he's got to do, right? You know what I mean? Like, and
Mhm.
I think he struggles with tuning in to a full game
I got you.
because he came out and he was tackling it looked good, but the second that Stroud improvised and Marvin Harrison went deep, like he went deep and he scored, right?
Mhm.
So Ringo's a raw prospect if he gets with the right coach. I think he could be good, but he's got the size, the height, the weight, the speed to be a good corner. I just think he's raw in a little bit of his technique. Same with Joey Porter Jr. Joey Porter's just a little bit more consistent. Noah Sewell's just too big. He's old. Like if we were drafting back in the '60s, he'd probably
Mhm.
be a first round pick. He's just too slow to cover what we're doing. He's got to find a niche probably as a special teamer. He hits hard, but and he's also injured a lot too.
Mhm.
I think he's a hammer, but I just think that that style of play really isn't what the NFL is anymore. You
Mhm.
really got to be able to run in the NFL these days, and I'm surprised like Dan Lanning, he came from Georgia. Like I actually been to a few of his coaching clinics. Like I'm surprised he made it work with him because he likes his linebackers to cover ground too.
Mhm.
Um, so Sewell's a throwback player, um, but I it's just not there for me. I think he's gonna have a hard time in the NFL.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Mike does too, because he, like I said,
Yeah.
I hadn't watched enough film on him, but after
Mhm.
watching Mike's thing on it, I was like, I went and looked a few, and I was like, yeah. And what Aaron just said too, he doesn't is not as explostive as you would
Mhm.
definitely watching some of the other linebackers, and it's due to his size, man. He's just a bigger dude. It's
It's
just
just bigger.
but
Yeah.
That's right.
yeah,
If this was 50s football and Jerome Bettis was running at you, it would be a nice little
Yeah.
collision with him and
oh
Sewell.
yeah,
But
oh hell yeah.
sorry, did I say 50s?
But
Jerome
it's 60s,
Bettis?
yeah.
Wrong man.
That was
So
like
I
the
got a
early
question, Aaron.
2000s.
So I got another good one for you, Aaron. Is there a player that you hear most of us rave about that you know is really, man, it's not really him. He a product of that scheme that they in. Like I don't think he not what y'all think he is. Like if you understand, because you understand on a higher level than most of us. Is there a
Yeah.
player that you know like we give him too much props because he's getting props for the scheme he's in, like Matt, more than his actual talent level. He's overrated. Is there a player that come to your mind in
Like, are you saying in college or are you saying in the NFL?
NFL? Just a player who we give a lot of praise to that you think, man, he is not really what y'all believe he is.
Uh, like I thought for a long time Deion Jones was that. Deion Jones
Okay.
was a byproduct of being a really good uh, he was really good when Atlanta was really good because he didn't have to do the nitty-gritty stuff that a linebacker had to do
Okay.
because he was constantly having to play pass, which is his strength.
Hmm.
But when you have closer games, you gotta get down and gritty and cover the run and be gap responsible. Deion Jones is a good player for what he does, but he's just not overall like a great player.
Hmm. Damn.
I
Okay.
like it. I
I
like it.
I have Deion Jones jersey. I
Yeah.
liked him. He's a flashy player. Like we needed that at that
Oh, yeah.
time,
That
but
time. Yeah.
on a snap to snap basis, he's and I'll say this because I didn't want to say this on Twitter because I already catch enough flack on Twitter because I'm constantly going against the grain on stuff because I'm just not a big groupthink guy. I just think
Yeah.
I want to know why everybody thinks like all these
Mhm.
things. So I go and study. I'm just like, maybe that's not it. But I thought Deron Payne, like I like Deron Payne, but he's just on a snap to snap basis, he's inconsistent. I think if you sign a guy like Draymond Jones, he's the kind of guy that gives you a snap to snap basis and a better pass rush win rate, which is like how many times he beats his block than Deron Payne does. And Deron Payne kind of gets a byproduct of being on a good Washington line too. So
Mhm.
he never really faces double teams. Where Draymond Jones is like him, um, and they have my guy Baron Browning up there too. Um, so yeah, like I thought I was like, man, I really don't want to give Payne 20 million a year. I would rather give 17 to Draymond Jones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you,
Yeah.
man. Like after, like I wanted, he was one of my top guys I wanted initially just because of the sound of it. It sounded good. Him
Mhm.
next to Grady, and then
Mhm.
you kind of dive into it a little bit, and you're like, man, this pass rush is the success rate's not that high really, and you start
Mhm.
looking
Is
like
that like 7%? That's pretty low. Like
it is.
that's
Yeah, yeah,
Travon Walker. Like that,
right,
he's another guy. Like I don't know why he went first overall, but
right. And I was like, if I
last
want,
year.
yeah, if I want 7% pass rush success, I can get somebody else for that for a hell of a lot
Mhm.
Mhm.
cheaper. Or I can get like three
Yeah.
guys for that. But all right, man. So last thing for us, man. Um, and then we'll get out of here. Do you think, number one, where do you think your boy CJ is going? And is it look like four quarterbacks in the top 10 this year? I saw Savion put that on there earlier. It looked like this could be the first year this is going to happen in a while. But
Four, did you say four quarterbacks in the top 10?
yeah,
So everything I'm hearing, yes, yes. I'll say this, there probably is going to be four quarterbacks in the top eight gone. I'm not even including Atlanta in that. So you could say in the top seven.
mhm,
I think four quarterbacks go in the top seven, which is really good for Atlanta. It's just the problem is that there's the teams that are ahead of us that aren't picking like guys that Atlanta likes or like that I like for the team. So
Mhm.
we gotta hope that that doesn't materialize and we hope our guy falls. But CJ Stroud. So where do you think I think he's going, or where I would like him to go?
no, where do you think he's going? Or both?
Uh, Okay, so I'll give you both. So where I would like him to go is Indianapolis. I think Shane Steichen is one of the best young offensive minds in football right now, and they just hired him as a head coach. Jalen Hurts has credited him numerous times, saying that every single time a defense threw us a pitch, Shane Steichen had a counter pitch to that. He's one of those rare coaches that can like change an offensive style on the go in the middle of a game. And I think that's incredibly underrated. And when you have CJ, a guy who can hit any single ball, um, kind of being the puppet to that, I just think that's unreal. Another one I could really see that and Falcons fans are gonna hate me for this, but I really like Carolina is a really good situation for him.
Yeah.
Just in that offensive system. Him like a lot of the balls that they like to throw that Frank Reich likes to throw like those are high percentage balls for CJ. Um, it would be really good. I will say this. The rumor came out and you addressed it that Atlanta's would be curious to move up.
Mhm.
CJ Stroud would take the top off of this offense. I cannot stress that enough. CJ Stroud can hit the deep ball. He can hit all of the throws, the layup throws that Arthur scripts. And I think it's incredibly I think you would see a really good level of this offense. I'm not saying Desmond can't get there. I think he can, but CJ, I think, is going to process that at a higher level than what Desmond could do right now.
Heard it
Aaron
here
just told
first,
me
buddy.
something new. I got over 1,000 views on my profile. No, thank you, buddy. I did not know that.
Yeah, so
I usually don't check the stats, buddy. I just do crazy shit, and then I never look at it again.
Yeah, there's yeah, man. Like there's like you see it on every day like I do on Twitter. There's so much back and forth on the quarterbacks about how this year is either overrated or they're underrated or whatever. We talked about it on the last show. CJ helped him so much, obviously, with the game against Georgia, and then doing what he did at the combine. To me, he looked like the smoothest QB out there. I mean, like you said, he had every throw. The deep throws were him and AR were amazing with their deep throws.
I didn't think he had 60 yards in him. I really didn't think he did that. For him to hit 63 yards, that's
yeah.
I'll say this: if you're trading up for him, you have to get into the top 2 picks. But it can't be understated how important elite level quarterback play. Like if you think he can be a top 5 guy in the NFL, like if that's what you think he can be, then you know what I mean.
Yeah,
no price you shouldn't be willing to pay.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. I mean,
Damn, saying it without saying it. We about to start another thing.
Well, and we'll end it with this. It's like, and I mean, I think we're kind of on the same page because, like, I don't really care. Like, there's nobody I'm just pounding the table for. Like, I mean, there's guys I would really like at 8, like we talked about, like Christian Gonzalez, obviously. But like, if whoever they take at 8, or if they move up, or if they move back, like I'm going to trust, because I really like what Terry has done so far. I'm going to trust they have a plan for that, and they're going to fill out the team however. Obviously, we're going to see a lot what they do with free agency, and that's going to tell us a lot about the draft, or give us an idea of what we think they may do in the draft. But hey, as long as there's a plan, man, and they really believe that this is going to be something that is going to take us to the next level, or put us there, 10, 15 years from now, whatever. I mean, great. I mean, that's I'm down for it. Like I'm not.
I got a question for you, buddy. I got a good one for what you just said. If you have to pick from one of these 3 at 8, that we are going to pick one of these 3 at 8, but you get to pick which one it is: Stroud, Bijan, or Gonzalez. You have to pick one of those 3 is your 8. Who are you going with?
I'm probably still going Gonzalez, because I still want the opportunity. Like I said, but not the Stroud, or if we went quarterback, would be maybe more expensive because he's a first round pick. But like I said before in the last show, the best case scenario for the Falcons is that Ritter is the dude, and he's making $1 million a year for the next 3 years, and then you build around him. So so that's what I'm banking on by going Gonzalez at 8, and then going everything else. But yeah,
Johnny Yates with the strategic take. I love it.
It was good. That was good. It's smart, and it's the right one too.
There you go.
If you believe Ritter's the guy, then yeah, absolutely build up around him and let him work.
Yeah,
Adam, before we leave, I got a last question for you. You gave us your priority when it came to coaching. What does Adam? Because we know Damski. Now I'm asking Adam. What is Adam's personal, like his life coaching, his philosophy for life? What is Adam, the man? What is his priority when it comes to life? What is his main thing he gonna teach his kids, that he try to influence his friends? What's his thing in life?
Don't take anything too serious, man, and just have fun and smile, man, because everything will always be all right.
I fucking love it. I fucking love it, man.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, exactly right. Berto said, "Damn it, Mike. Gonzalez still the guy in which." Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Casey Casa, hey fellas, send us some Falcons love. Hey man, appreciate it, dude.
Yo, you know what? Actually, I wanted to say this too. You guys put me on to Berto, man. Your guys are the reason why. He's a smart Falcons dude. I want to kick it. I actually DM'd him, man, because I started watching his stuff. I was like, man, you definitely know what you're talking about. I love that you did the research too. So I DM'd him just randomly, and this guy's probably like, what the hell? But yeah, I'm like, man, yeah, like your work's great. I love that you do your studying and stuff. I'm like, yo, we got to kick it sometime. He's like, yo, we definitely got to make that happen. So I think me and him are gonna try to link up on something. I would love to get you guys to come and do that stuff too.
Oh hell yeah,
From
yeah, man.
Birdo, like,
Birdo's
yeah,
a man, dude.
Birdo different with it. He
We said,
Yeah,
where do
I
we?
love it, man.
yeah.
Aaron said, "Where do you see Richardson going?" I could kind of like what you said, man. I can see about CJ. I could see him landing in Carolina. That would kind of suck if he became like Cam Newton 2.0. But yeah, I know. But I mean, I can see the Raiders going that way. Seems like possibly a fit out there. If they want to go quarterback, I don't really know, man. I mean, it's so that I don't know. That's a
I'll
tough
say
one to call.
this too, like he's bigger than Cam Newton, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. They're about the same. They're
So
similar, but yeah.
so I played Cam Newton's team last year. So I met Cam Newton last year when we were playing ball. And dude, that dude is like the biggest, loudest dude I've ever met in my life.
Mhm.
Like you thought Mike was loud, bro. I promise you, if you ever meet Cam Newton, he's way louder than him. I'll send you some videos of this guy just screaming at a ref once.
Yeah.
It was so funny. I'll maybe see if I think Hunter's coming down for the tournament, but in North Carolina it's one of the biggest sevens tournaments in 3 weeks actually. So maybe come down like Roddy White's going to be there
Oh, that'd
Oh,
be
with his
awesome.
team. T.Y. Hilton's going to be there. A few players are going to be there. I'm nervous as hell because I'm coaching the older kids, but it's a good tournament to meet some like really big heads in football.
That's awesome,
I
man.
love it.
Casey, appreciate you, buddy.
Away from Cali. Love you, buddy.
And Alberta said, "Thank you, man. Thank you,
Birdo,
Damski."
yeah.
Oh, we'll see. So, oh Lord,
Uncle
Alberta's head
Steve said,
swelling
"Oh
as we
Lord,
speak.
Birdo head swelling as we speak." Just kidding. That's what I got.
And last take, and we'll get.
I can't hear you, John.
I think he knows it too.
Yeah.
John.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He said, Jamarcus said, he said, Richardson equals Jamarcus Russell. I'm sorry. Everyone fell in love with Russell in the combine like they are Richardson. Yeah, man. I mean, I can't. Time was going to tell, man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he showed out at the combine, but yeah, I don't even know how to call Richardson, to be honest with you, man. We'll see what kind of system he gets into and how he looks. I mean, freak of an athlete, cannon arm, but I mean, it's easy to do that when you're in your underwear throwing against the air. So we'll see. Pads on, throwing against NFL defenses. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, man, Adam, we're gonna get out of here, buddy, because I got to get my kid to practice again fairly soon. Dude, thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, hell yeah. Thank you, Adam, buddy.
Talking defense.
Yeah, it was fun as hell.
And as always, guys, subscribe to the channel, like the video. It helps us get us out there. You can catch us. We'll be back on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. with our boy Kenny G, Grits Blitz on
Kenny
defense
G.
on Twitter. He'll be back for I think his second show with us, and so looking forward to that, man. He's awesome. He's with Neptune Scouting, another guy who really knows his shit when it comes to draft prospects and just football in general. Man, I always love having Kenny on. So appreciate you guys again for hanging out with us. Mike, you got anything left, buddy?
No, I just want to see really, man, Damski do something with Birdo. It's like Kobe and Shaq. So I'm looking forward to whatever they.
Wow,
I'm
huge...
looking forward to whatever that produces. But just once again, man, thank you. I done missed the last two. It was all, man. I've been had questions loaded for you, so it was great.
That's awesome. I love that, man. That was definitely fun. And like I said to John,
to get to answer the questions, man. We really appreciate you.
For sure, for sure.
All right, guys. We'll catch y'all on Wednesday, 7 p.m. And appreciate you as always, guys. Much love.
Out of your Falcon mind.